Great attitudes. Okay. Um, how are you?
I'm really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. How is your English so good?
I lived in the States for 5 years. It's a little
Okay.
rusty now, just like this was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But
You sound your English is better than my English. It's definitely better than my Spanish and probably better than my English. Um, where in America did you live?
in Washington D.C.,
Oh, what were you doing there? President.
I I went for work and then I did my bachelor's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was this? When you were like a teenager, like just in finishing college kind of thing?
Yes. So I went there when I was 20, and then stayed till I was 25.
And
Mhm.
what work were you doing? What was your job?
I worked in IT. Um,
Okay.
didn't love it, so I decided to go for my bachelor's in business. Um, yeah, I didn't like the work that I was doing, so I decided to change. I was in the States already, and I wanted to learn more,
Yeah.
and then I just went for school.
Um, and did you do school in America?
I did it here and in
Okay,
America as well. So I
because
did
it's really
IT.
expensive in America, isn't it? Is what's university like in Spain? Is it expensive or?
Not that much,
Yeah,
because we have public university here, so
yeah,
it's really affordable. It was more expensive in the US, for
I'd say.
sure. But the good thing about school was that it allowed me to work as well. So it was a busy time, but working, studying. But
Mm,
I had a really good time.
that's cool. Um, okay, I feel like we've been maybe slightly overshadowed by the news that broke about like 20 minutes ago, or half an hour ago, whatever. That Dave Castro is back,
Mm.
um, and Justin Berg is out. Do you think will that have any effect on the games this year? Do you think? Are you like do you try to keep abreast of what's happening with that side of stuff, or are you just like I don't care, just tell me what the workout is and I'll do it?
No, well, I don't know how this is gonna affect us in particular. I was watching Seven's podcast and I was listening to you guys talk about it. I don't know what effect it's gonna have on the adaptive category, which is what concerns me. But I think that I wish it took our sport forward because it does need to move forward because they they are asking like right now. I feel like we are. I don't know how to put this, but like a category that's people look at us with pity. I think a little bit,
Yeah.
and I want us athletes to be showing what we really can do. I hope that we can do this with Cashier's leadership in here. Now, I doubt that's going to happen this year, and I'm uncertain what's going to happen next. But I just hope that it moves the sport like all categories.
What would need what for you say next September?
Mhm.
So after the 2023 and 2024 games, what would you have need to seen for your division in particular for you to say that was brilliant?
Just for them not to kind of scale the workout because I I I train muscle ups all year. I train everything all year long. So when the open comes and I'm asked to do dumbbell cleans instead of squat cleans, and when I'm asked to do pistols instead of muscle ups, it kind of pisses me off because I've been working all year, putting a lot of hours to show what I can do. So
Are
without
the
me,
other guys in your division the same? Who else? So Casey, is he in your division?
yes.
And would you feel like so say you came fifth last year
Mhm.
and the year before, and would you say of those say potentially 10 or 9 athletes that were with you those 2 years, do you think it's the same for those other guys as well? Are they like, oh yeah, give me the barbell, give me what? Or do you think are there some of them that are like, oh maybe this is better for me than it is for say Xabi or Casey?
unfortunately, it's not the same for everyone. Like I agree with Casey, a lot of stuff because like he's amazing. Like the things that he can do is my he's the guy who's putting the standards for the sport, and I love it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that other athletes are not on the same page because I think a lot of athletes are looking for podiums. So they are looking for movements that are better for them, so they
Mm.
can podium instead of just like give me like it is, and I will adapt to the workout. I don't need the workout to be adapted to me.
Okay. That's interesting. Um, and obviously, like say the last maybe particularly like about 3 months ago, there was a lot of talk about the changes to the adaptive division. It didn't really affect your division, but more so the neuromuscular and like kind of what would you call them, like invisible
Mm.
adaptations, I suppose. Like, do you feel like are there off-season events that are ahead of what CrossFit are doing?
I do have a strong opinion about this, and because like I went to Urapalooza this year,
Mm,
and yes, they do ask for more of us. They do demand for like more, but there's still that component of the workouts being adapted to us. So this year I went teams, like regular teams, and like we didn't ask for any change. We didn't go to any head judge and like, hey, can you put this instead of this? No, no, like we showed that we can do everything. So there are better competitions than others, but I still think that we are not showing what we can actually do, and that's why I think we are looked like a minor category, if it makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Um,
Who are you on a team with in Miami?
I asked for two other upper category guys to join with me. I didn't know them personally; they were from Mexico, and we just
Okay.
like I was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about going teams, regular teams this year?" And it was honestly the best experience I've had competing. It was
Why?
just
Why was it so good?
because it was three guys with one hand, with one arm, and when we stepped on the floor, everyone was like, "What are these guys doing here?"
These guys are lost.
Yeah, you guys know, like the adaptive category is like back there,
Yeah.
and they were like, they admitted that they looked at us like, with, "Oh, poor guys," right? And then the workout starts, and like we're ahead, and the guys are like, "Oh crap, these guys are beating us in workouts." And I remember one case they were like, we beat the team next to us in the first workout, and on the second one they beat us, but they were like, "Oof, we had to win this one, otherwise we have to stop doing CrossFit."
What
uh,
was I like the open water swim? What's your swimming like? That must have been hard, no?
um, I do surf since I'm a kid, so it
Do you
wasn't
are
that
you
bad.
are you were you allowed to use any like additional equipment or anything? Like I'm like it must be hard to. I'm just thinking of like okay, I'm really shit at swimming, like terrible. But I'm thinking of myself swimming with one arm. What would happen? And then I'm thinking of myself swimming in a race
Hmm.
with people using two arms while I only use one arm, and what would happen? Like, were you allowed to use anything on your other arm?
I don't really use any, I not for swimming.
Okay.
So since I have two legs, I just had to run faster on that workout, and yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's really cool. Okay, yeah, because I saw you did the open, like 2018. You did the like the open, like with everyone, I guess. And then so you did adaptive 2021, 2022, and then this year. Um, and presumably 2018, it just wasn't like it wasn't there. It wasn't an option. So
Yeah, but more I was pissed with CrossFit back then because I was like, hey, um I cannot like I cannot use, and I was young in the sport back then, but I'm like, hey, I cannot use two dumbbells can I like, or can I use a heavier one? They're like, in those kind of cases, and they were like, no, if you cannot submit the workout as it is, it's not valid. And they did have adaptive athletes on their advertisement.
Yeah.
So I was like, why are you putting adaptive athletes in if then we won't have the option?
Yeah.
Um, but nowadays, like I did this year, I was doing the workouts as prescribed as well. So yeah, it counted more in 20. Was it 21st games for us was 2020?
Yeah.
I think. So I decided to focus and give it all on the adaptive division instead of like having both workouts to be done. But
Did
yeah,
you do both this? Have you done both since? Did you do both this year or just adaptive this year?
I did both workouts, but I just submitted adaptive.
Okay. And you own a CrossFit gym?
Yes, I do.
Outside, it's like I was looking earlier on. It's outside Bilbao. It's kind of like north of Spain. Is that right?
Yes.
So, in like 2 weeks, on like the 5th, the 3rd, or the 5th, or something, we're going on like a family holiday. We're getting a ferry to Bilbao and driving to somewhere in France. And I clicked the gym through your page, then I clicked the maps, and I was like, hang on, you know the way it zooms in really far? I was like, hang on, this looks really familiar. I was like, I've seen that coastline, and I zoomed out, and I was like, oh fuck, we drive right past his gym on the way to France. So I'll see what my what the mood in the camp is like, but I might stop on the way past because I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and if it's not happening, it's just not happening. But like, if I feel like, oh, they could probably take a half an hour break, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see
you
what
guys
happens. That's cool.
you're more than welcome to visit. Let me know, and
Yeah,
because it is on the way. It's probably gonna take you like a couple hours. It's
it
really
looks
close.
like you're literally off the motorway and then back on, from
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
I can tell. Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
Okay, I haven't run that past my wife, so
Mhm.
let's not make any promises. Okay, how long have you owned that gym for?
It's going to be 4 years now.
Okay, right. So
Mhm.
I also, so like I was like, oh, I'll find his YouTube channel, and there'll be some stuff on there. There'll be some videos and stuff. And I was typed in, so you know the way it predicts like what you're going to type, and I typed in like Xabi, and obviously what came up was like Xabi Alonso and like all footballers and stuff. And then it came up. I got like XABI, and then I got
Mhm.
O, and your name came up straight away. And then it was like Xabi Osa Got Talent, and I was like, what? So I clicked in, and you were on Spain's Got Talent,
Yeah. Yes.
doing like essentially
Oh,
doing CrossFit.
yes. It was. It was a great experience. It got a really good feedback. I wanted to go there, especially to give the message of, hey, it doesn't matter how you are, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter how you're born or where you're coming from, you can do amazing stuff. It doesn't have to be in sport, it doesn't have to be in CrossFit, but just go out there and get it. And I received a lot of messages, especially from families,
yeah,
and their kids saw me and they were like, hey, that guy's like me, so if he can do that, like I can do that stuff too. So it was a great experience, but more for the message that it let me
yeah.
spread.
But yeah, but it's got like 400 and something thousand views. It's obviously a big show. Like Spain's Got
Mm,
Talent is obviously popular. The guy. So I literally know nothing about. So I know like say Britain's Got Talent, and I've
mm.
seen like the odd clip of like America's Got Talent. Do you like? Is it the same people on Spain's Got Talent? The same judges all the time?
Yes.
Who's that guy on the left with like fucking tiger jacket and the sunglasses inside? Who's he?
His name is Risto, and he's the
Was he
one.
like a singer from the 60s or something?
He's a journalist, and he's every talent show has like a rigorous
Yeah,
person who's
yeah. A
so
dick. Every talent show has a dick,
yes,
and he's a dick.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he's Spain's Got Talent Dick, and yeah, the
Spain is
other,
that thing.
yeah, I got 2 yeses, and she's like, well, I don't see any history with your performance. I don't see any sense
Oh
of
yeah, yeah.
your performance. Just like, this guy doesn't understand CrossFit, and so it's okay. I'm not mad because this
Yeah.
guy does not know what CrossFit is. So
It was funny though, because I like obviously I was watching it in Spanish and there's no subtitles and like closed captions. I was like, oh, how do I get to understand? But it's so funny that you can, like, I was watching you talk and I was like, I bet he's saying something like motivational. And then you could hear like people clapping and stuff. I was like, yeah, he definitely
yeah,
was. And then you could hear like he was talking and then people were like, oh, I was like, oh, he's obviously giving him a no. So like you're trying to work out like what's going on. So another video came up. Oh, I can't remember the fucking name that was on it, but it was that 17 years old song or 7 years old or whatever it was is playing on it, and it's on your own channel.
Hmm.
And it's you talking. You're kind of just telling your story, I guess. It's a
Hmm.
short, like maybe 4 minutes or something.
Mhm.
So I've kind of gathered like some sort of sense of like who you are from that.
Hmm.
So there's a few bits that I want to kind of dive into. So you were born with one full arm,
Mhm.
but there's also a deformity on the hand of the full arm. Is that right?
Yes. So pretty much, like, I have, they had to amputate or like cut
Oh, so you were so okay. So it was like post birth.
post birth. Yes,
Okay,
like
okay,
he was right there, and then they had to like do surgery on my fingers, and then my
why
legs as
why
well.
what was the issue? Like what was wrong
Um,
when you came out?
I'm not I'm not sure. I don't ask,
Okay,
because I'm like, it happened. I'm like, I am today, and I don't care.
yeah,
But pretty much that my left arm got was outside of the bag, so it
okay.
didn't develop, as like it didn't develop. So they had to amputate.
Oh,
Um,
because it would be a draw on the rest of you basically if they left it, kind of, is it?
yes. Mhm.
Okay, and the same with the fingers.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
Which
um,
actually, what's like, it not it the most handicap, it's my actual like hand with the fingers, because I don't it doesn't let me grip
yeah.
full grip. So yeah,
Yeah,
when
it's kind of you can kind of half do stuff, but not.
yes,
Yeah, it'd be better to either not be able to do it or to be fully able to do it, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it was heartbreaking, like, because like, obviously I don't want any of this to sound like patronizing or any of it to
Mm,
sound like like that I'm being overly, I don't know, sympathetic or whatever. But like, I think one thing, like when you have kids like I had no kind of empathy. Obviously, if I saw somebody with like a kid that was sick, or you hear about a kid maybe going missing or something happening, you're like, oh, that's awful, and like poor them. But then when you have your own kid, it's like 10 million times more relatable, and you're like, oh, that must be so hard. You're going through all the things that might happen, and
mm,
there was like you were talking about you as a child, and there was a picture of you on like a little like bike car thing,
mm,
um and you can see like that you have the disability is there already in a young child, and it's like it's so heartbreaking to
mm,
see, because like there's so much, obviously you don't know any different and you've
mm,
never known like what it would have been like, I suppose.
mm,
But like, say, growing up, can you remember a time where you became aware of the fact that, like, oh, hang on, I'm
mm,
not the same as everyone else. Like everyone else is different to me, or I'm different to everyone else.
mm. I don't remember any specific moment, but I do remember my childhood, as long as I can remember, being, like, um insulted, or how do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say,
yeah. Insulted.
made
Yeah,
fun of,
yeah.
um and that,
What age are we talking here? Like, are we talking like 6, 7, or older?
yeah, older, like 7, like 8 to 10,
So
then.
probably around the time, like I'm a teacher, so I'm thinking like that is probably around the time that people start to realize that people are different, like that someone's hair is shit, or someone's like too tall or too short or too fat or too thin. So yeah, the
Yes.
different, like, people notice differences then. Yeah,
Mm. Yes, and I remember it being hard because I just wanted to be a part of the group,
Yeah.
and like almost everybody was just telling me calling me names, and it was hard. It was hard as a kid when you're trying to develop in who you are, just to be set apart from anyone else. And it was, to me, that stage of my life was a depressing. I went through depression as a kid, and I didn't share this much because I kept it all to myself.
Hmm.
But it was hard. I, looking back then, to that moment, to that moment of my life, it's, I'm not, nowadays, I'm not, I don't hold any grudges against any kid, and it is what it is, and that's what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to, for people to see that difference as just a difference. It's not
Hmm.
less, it's not more, it's just a different kid. And that's why, when, and I understand that parents don't do this in a bad way, but when I walk through a street and a kid looks at me and, oh, look at that guy, he's missing a hand, like, the kid is just being curious, and that's okay.
Hmm.
uh, just let them ask, so they can make that idea of that guy being different from me.
Yeah.
If parents are like, hey, don't ask, and they make it look like it's something negative,
Yeah. Yeah.
then the kid is not, it's just, that's how they're gonna see that. And but yeah, growing up was hard.
That's interesting. Yeah. I never thought of it that way. Um. Okay. So so 7, 8, 9, a rough period. Have you got brothers or sisters?
I have two sisters,
Older or younger?
younger, both of them are younger, yeah.
A lot. Like what's the age gap?
uh 3 years with my middle sister and 12 with my little sister.
Wow. Okay. 12 years. That's a substantial gap.
Yeah, yeah,
that's
well,
a that sounds like a happy surprise. That second sister. So you okay. So 3 year gap. So you didn't. There's kind of no one there. Then it's not like I kind of feel like if you had an older sister, they might look after you, or you could talk to them or whatever. But there's kind of nobody. I mean, you're not going to talk, especially when you're like 7. You're not going to talk to a 4-year-old and be like,
mm,
"Hey, things are pretty shitty," like or like even up as far as you probably won't really feel the urge to talk to somebody that's 3 years younger than you until they're at least like 20.
mm. I did not have anyone older, and I say this a lot of times. It's, I was just focusing on all the crap they were throwing at me from the outside, but I did have some, like, even if it wasn't everyone, I did have some friends, and my sister and my dad, who were constantly reminding me that, hey, you are able.
Yeah.
Like, my friends wouldn't ask me if I could go biking. They're like, hey, we're going biking. My dad wouldn't ask me like, hey, can you do this? Like, my dad was like, straight up, I'm gonna sign you up for drums class. I'm gonna sign you up for trumpet. I'm gonna sign you up for surfing. Like, you can do this. Like, I was getting all these positive messages from my inner circle, and I was just focusing on all the negative.
Hmm.
Um, but it was my family and my sister, and my friends, who, like, my small group of friends, who took me out of there, and helped me see that I was capable of doing things.
Hmm. What did you grow up in the town that you live in now? Like, is this where you're from?
No, I am from a little town close to the beach, on the
Okay.
way to France. Uh,
Like what kind of population? Like how many? Like is it a big town or a small town?
a small
Like
town, like
a
8,000.
village, basically.
Yeah, village. Yeah, five
Okay.
thousand.
So you were definitely, I assume, the only one like you in the town then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what age are you now?
What's that? Sorry,
What age are you now?
I'm 30.
Okay. So like 20 years ago, like early 90s, there was a lot less a lot less frequency that people would even see someone like you, like even on TV or in a movie or on in sports, or the Paralympics wasn't that well covered. Like you wouldn't have been represented anywhere really, I suppose, for people to see you. So then, yeah, that must have been really shit. Like, because you say about like that, now you have that thing of, oh, you know, don't stop your kids looking or whatever. But I'm assuming that happened a lot then when you were
Mm,
younger, because it was literally, it probably, for some of the people in that village or town or whatever, like they never would have seen anything like that before anyway.
exactly. And I remember,
Especially in a child, maybe like someone coming back from a war or from the army or something, maybe, but not a child.
and my dad did a great job of like, hey, just go out, just go do things. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop you. I'm not gonna overprotect you. Um, but I was afraid of like leave going outside, because I felt like every time I left home, I kind of put the arm on the pocket, so people wouldn't notice as much that I was missing an arm.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I just want to stay home because I didn't want to go through that
Sorry,
moment.
how did you put your hand in, how did you put your arm in your pocket? What pocket? In like
Conscious,
your jumper?
conscious.
Okay,
Let,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Let me
was like
finish.
imagining you like walking like hunched over to one side.
it,
It's like that's
it,
gonna make it more obvious.
it probably looked that way.
Yeah.
Now that I
Was there
think about
ever
it,
was there ever any talk of you getting like a prosthetic or getting like, an appendage added or anything?
I don't remember. No,
Or even later in life, like have you considered it since? No.
no. As long as they don't develop that Winter Soldier arm, I'm okay not wearing one, because I think it's mostly
They're
static.
kind of they're kind of at that, like, they're still at that kind of mannequin stage really, aren't they? Like it's just like a inanimate. It's not, you can't like really do,
Yes, it's
it's not as
low.
mobile as a normal hand will say.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
especially for CrossFit, I think that it would stop me. Like, I will have to take the arm out,
Yeah.
and the lowers, like, those guys, they take the prosthetic, they put the prosthetic, because they need to
Yeah.
to do work. But I think for us it's mostly static. And since
Yeah.
I like how I am nowadays, I don't care people looking at me. Um, yeah, it's okay for me.
Once they get that Winter Soldier one though, you'd be like unstoppable. You'd be
Maybe
like lifting up.
maybe I will be able to beat Casey if I get one of those.
Oh, I'd say like Medeiros is fucked. I'd say you'd be
Yes.
you'd be cleaning like the heaviest sandbag with just like, just
Huh.
like a little pincer grip of
Yeah.
like the steel arm. Yeah.
I hope
Um.
you can. I hope you can make my Fran time faster as well.
No,
But
I actually, you'd kind of be. It's yeah, it's not really going to be much help there. You'd also ruin your gym. You'd crush every pull-up bar that you grab. Like for the
exactly,
first
yeah,
6 months, you'd be crushing them entire. It'd be like it's
having to
crushing a
buy.
can.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, so um, what about? So you haven't. Are both your parents still alive?
Sorry.
Are both of your parents still alive?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and are they together still? Or are they still married?
No.
Okay.
So my younger sister is from a different marriage.
You're a
With
different one with your dad.
yes, with
Okay.
my dad. Yeah. Which I get along really well. My mom lives in Brazil, and because she's from Brazil, like, I'm half
Okay.
Brazilian. Mm.
Okay. Yeah, because like you didn't mention your mother once through that whole. You were like my dad this, my sister this, my dad this, my sister this.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's telling. Do you not get on with your mom,
Um,
or
it's
didn't maybe?
He wasn't that present growing
Okay.
up, because they split up. Can't remember if I was 6 or 7. And she lived in Spain for a while, and I would see her, but she left to Brazil, I think, when I was like 13 or 14.
Okay.
So I I haven't seen her since then, and it's not that common for me, because my dad was there. Like, my dad was
Yeah.
there from the beginning, and he's always been there, and he's always been showing me that, hey, hard work can get you whatever you want. And he's raised me to
Yeah.
be who I am today, and I don't hold any grudges against my mom. I have nothing against my mom. It's just that my dad was there, and
So yeah, it's kind of sounds like it's not that you don't have anything against her, you just have nothing either way. It's just like there's just nothing one way or the other. You don't hate her, but you're not like indebted to her or anything either.
exactly. It's my mother, and I love her for that. But it doesn't come natural to me that to just have that relationship, because through that process, and I'm sure she had things to grieve, um, but I don't blame her to to be like I am today, because it's not her fault. It's not my dad's fault. Um, I'm okay with being who I am today, and no one has to be sad about it, or it's no one's fault. It's just how things are. And I think my mom had a little bit of that, and I did talk to her about this and said like, hey, it's not your fault. It's okay.
So do you
Uh,
think she blamed herself?
I think a
Is
little
that
bit.
like she took it on as like, oh, it's somehow because she was pregnant that it was her fault, basically?
Yes, but again, I repeated more than once that, hey, it's okay. It's not your fault. I am like I am. It's not worse. It's not better.
Yeah,
I love who I am.
yeah. Um, have you spoken to her at all since? Like,
Yes, we message on birthdays and Mother's Day.
well,
But
fair play, Mother's Day. That
yeah,
takes that takes some. Yeah, that takes a lot of I don't know, balls, I suppose, to message. I don't even, did I message my mother on Mother's Day? Maybe I did. Um, I'll pretend I did anyway. Bruce, yes, Xabi is from Spain. He's
Bruce, nice. It's
half
I am
Brazilian.
I do watch Seven's podcast a lot, so like reading
Yeah,
Bruce's name, and it's just I want you to know it's a huge honor to be here.
yeah. You don't have to lie. It's okay. Um, so yeah, that's yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like, because like you want to like I want to kind of, and I know that you don't you don't dwell on it. Bruce lives in Miami, like Florida, so I assume he's got a lot of Spanish uh ability, more than I do with English probably. So you I don't, yeah, I see, I'm conscious as well, I don't want to dwell on it, but I'm also trying to kind of wrap my head around what it would have been like, um just to be, because like I think there's especially periods of time in formative years or whatever where people feel different, and like in reality they're not, like you're saying, you're trying to kind of promote the attitude of it's not a disability, or it's not something bad, it's just something different. It's like having blonde hair or black hair. It's just something, it's a genetic thing or whatever, or just a difference, I suppose. But like when kids turn, like you're saying, past that kind of 7, 8, 9 age, up until they're like, some people never get over it, but up until their late teens anyway, people who have red hair hate the fact they have red hair. People who are too tall hate the fact that they're too tall. People who have, who are short hate that they're short, or fat hate that they're fat, or skinny hate that they're skinny. Like they see themselves as different, and they see themselves as like, everyone's looking at me, everybody's whatever. But like it must be amplified a lot for you growing up, like that feeling of being different, because if people are saying stuff to you and about you, you're like kind of constantly reminded of it, I guess.
It's that to me is I have my things, and probably I have bigger issues than not having an arm. Like the things that actually stopped me wasn't what I was missing. It was just me, how I saw myself. And like you said, there's some people with who are tall who hate being tall, and we all have something that we think stops us from getting to where we want to go.
So
And
what was the thing then? So if you had this kind of attitude or way of living of like, oh, this is shit, like I'm different and I hate being different and I hate that I can't do, or people think I can't do what they can do or whatever, like, did something happen? Is it like, because you're saying that your dad was supportive all the way up and your sister was supportive and your friends were supportive, but obviously that was falling on deaf ears for a long time. Like, you weren't willing to listen or willing to see what they were saying. So did something happen? Like, was it an overnight thing where you woke up one day and you're like, fuck this, I'm going to do it differently? Or was it like a gradual, as you got older, you started to kind of improve?
No, and I had it was a mirror moment for me. I was, I think, 16, and I was just looking at myself in the mirror and at the lowest point of my life, and I was just, is this how our life is gonna go? I thought that I wasn't gonna be capable of anything in life. I wasn't gonna be good at anything in life. So why keep living? Why keep going? And I looked at myself in the mirror and I felt like it was my God telling me, like, hey, imagine the best you. Imagine the best you. And like, and that in that moment for me, because I was judged physically so much, to me the best Xabi was a strong Xabi.
Mm.
And I remember that day making the decision of like, screw this. We're gonna go towards that version, towards that vision. And next morning, with my the little knowledge that I had about training, I started running and I started eating well, because this depression had me having bad habits of not taking care of myself. So I started running and eating well, and that's the first step that I took towards, well, getting here, I guess.
Yeah. And did, like, what were you still living at home? Were you still living with your dad then? 16, yeah.
Yes.
So was he like, that next day when he saw you putting on your runners and going out the door, was he like, oh, thank fuck?
Uh, I don't. I don't know. But I don't talk to my dad about this much. But he must have been like happy. Just because,
Do you talk to him about other stuff though? Like, do you talk to him about, like, does he ever talk to you? Like, he must be fucking insanely proud if his whole thing when you were growing up was, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Like, don't ever let people tell you you can't do it. You need to find a way. You need to figure it out. You can do it. And then you're at the CrossFit Games and you're on like Spain's Got Talent, showing people what you can do and stuff. Like, is he a quiet man? Like, has he said to you like, oh, you're fucking brilliant? Or is he like more kind of old fashioned, more like quiet pat on the back and that's it?
he's more old fashioned.
Okay.
And I think,
Dads are such dicks.
yeah,
Why can't they just say,
yeah, but he didn't tell me, but he showed me with
yeah,
actions that he loves me and that he's proud. And I take every moment of those actions, and to me it's big that he sees that all that fight that he went through all those years
yeah,
was to raise a kid that, well, like you said, to me, being at the CrossFit Games, when I saw this on YouTube with my friends, uh, he's proud and he showed me. Yeah.
yeah. um have you ever hugged your dad?
Sorry.
Have
Yes.
you,
Yes. 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 Yes.
as an adult, like?
Yes.
Yeah, I like, I assume I hugged my dad when I was a kid, but I'm pretty sure the first time in memory, the first time that I've hugged him was like a year ago. I'm, I'm like 35 this year and he's like 75.
We It's just, I guess that's we how old fashioned can
Yeah.
communicate.
What
And
does your dad do? What was his job, or is he still working?
he was a chef. He had his own restaurant.
Okay.
But he retired.
So a high stress environment.
Yes. And I don't remember. The thing that I appreciate most is that he was working from 7 a.m. till midnight, and he wasn't that present.
Yeah.
But it was, back then I didn't understand it, but now I understand that he was
Yeah.
just trying, because he was poor growing up, so he was just trying that his kids had a better life.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I do now, it's just those actions are to appreciate all the work he's put on raising us, even when he couldn't be there that much.
Yeah. Jobs to do, like difficult jobs to do with some missing fingers and a missing arm. Chef probably is pretty high on the list of, like, it would be tricky. It would be a difficult job to go
Yes.
for. I know he says you can do everything, but I mean, that would be quite tricky.
that's what I tell my girlfriend, and also that I cannot wash dishes,
Yeah,
or
I can't
also
walk
in
the
the house.
dog, can't do washes.
Yeah, but yeah, I have to, so I
You're
have to
like,
buy
you've got
someone.
these two versions of Xavi. It's like I can fucking do anything. I can climb any mountain. No, I can't empty the
I
dishwasher.
cannot,
Sorry, it's
yeah,
my hand. I can't. I'm
I
not
cannot.
able.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So now and then, sometimes now and then, I throw a plate to the floor just to.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Told you,
Oops.
I told you.
It's like
Yeah,
there's a thing in Ireland where if you make a cup of tea really shit, you'll never be asked to make a cup of tea again. And it's just like that's what you're doing. It's like every 6 months or so, you need to just break a dish just to
yeah.
remind. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can't do the
Oh,
dishwasher. Yeah, it's like I've seen you do bar muscle ups on live television, but you can't take a knife out of the dishwasher and put it away. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard life, Shabby. I don't envy you it. Okay, so you started running and like kind of looking after yourself when you were like 16, 17ish around there somewhere. And then you mentioned there in the middle there that you saw CrossFit on YouTube with your friends. So what age were you then?
I was, so at this point I was already back home in Spain.
Okay. Also 20, post
I
20.
was 25 when I
And
discovered
up
CrossFit.
until then, so
Uh,
up until when you went to America, was that what you were doing, kind of running and then maybe like, like Lobo gym stuff?
yes, I was surfing. I went to my little village's gym, started working out there, asked the trainer for help, and he gave me this table with exercises. It's just like the general table that
Yeah.
he had for everyone. So that right then it's when I started trying to figure things out in the gym.
Yeah, because I'm
Um,
assuming if he's going through if it's like your classic machine gym and stuff, he's
yeah,
probably like, oh, you can do lat. Oh no, you can't do that. Oh, you can do row. Oh no, you can't do that.
it
He's
was
probably just coming across a list of like, no,
not
no,
even like
no.
that. It was the same he gave everyone.
Oh, he just
Uh,
handed it to you and said, best of luck.
yes, here you
Okay,
go.
yeah, yeah. What a
Uh,
coach.
but
Unbelievable.
it's now I look at it. I was like, thank you,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you made me work. You made me think, and to see how I can match do these exercises. And it was then where I started adapting my workouts.
Yeah, I mean that's you were probably an anomaly because your dad had worked so hard to get you to view things that way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if someone else had gone into that gym and said, I need to," and he handed them that, they would have just walked out again. So the fact
Yes.
that it's probably your mindset going in that helped you push back.
Definitely.
Okay, so then so and like when you went to America and stuff and went back to college, like were like even now, say, do you still have those things of like, oh, that guy's looking at me, he's probably wondering what's wrong with my arm or whatever? Do you still have those, and did you have those when you're, because I'm thinking if you're working in IT, it must be tricky with one hand to work in IT if it's all keyboard and mice and stuff.
Yeah, those are the questions that people are afraid to ask. It's like, how do you type on a keyboard? Like, uh,
Do you just like smash your face off the
yeah,
keyboard?
you imagine it's probably like blah, 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 hello. No, but no, I could maybe slower,
Yeah,
but it was fine. And I did have that, but and I do um, have those thoughts. But it's like if Shaquille O'Neal walked through the doors, you look at him. He's different.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
big. But he worked hard for people to have a perception of him of a
Mm,
champion, right? So that's how I think. People may look at me. They might look at me because I don't have an arm, or they might also look at me because they know how I am, and it's like this dude can do things.
mm.
That's cool. So it's I'm okay with people looking at me. It's and if someone has any doubts, any thoughts, like, hey, go ahead, ask me. I'm an open book. It's okay.
What fingers is it your middle two fingers on your hand?
The three of them. So I only have these two, which is like the
Okay,
Shaga
yeah, yeah, yeah,
surfing.
yeah. Perfect
Yeah,
for surfing. Yeah, it's a good job of getting
surfing,
surfing.
yeah.
Because I was thinking as well, in your head, you could be giving anyone the finger at any time, and they'd never
And
know
they never
that.
know. They never
Yeah,
know.
they'll just see like your limb like moving around, or they'll just see you doing this, and be like, and they'll be like, "Hey, yeah, man." You'd be like, "Ah, yeah, I'm giving you the finger."
Exactly. The perks.
Yeah, it's
perks.
perfect. Yeah, you have to look for those silver linings. Um, okay, so then, so you saw CrossFit on YouTube, and what then? Started doing it yourself, or found a gym, or how did that happen?
No, so towards the end, right when I was going to graduate from college, I started doing strongman
Oh
in
wow, okay,
A gym close to Baltimore, and I loved it. Did my first competition open with guys with two arms and two legs, and I loved the feeling of competing and then having the guy competing against me cheering on me next to me.
yeah,
So I came back to Spain, and the closest thing to strongman training was a CrossFit gym. Walked through the doors, tried a class, and loved it, and was like the first thing that I saw like were the ropes, people walking on their hands, people doing snatches, and to me at that point I was like, there are so many impossibles here for me to overcome, and I love that. So I started CrossFit, did my first class, and it went to where we are now.
that's so cool. Can you remember? So that first CrossFit gym that you went into, was the coach like, "Great, no problem. Figure it out. Like we're doing wall balls. Best of luck with that." Or were they like, "Okay, we're doing wall balls. I want you to do this instead." Like, did you have any kind of pushback when you started first?
I I usually have this when I go to gyms, and I have a story. I remember when I went when I first went to Never Say this gym in Baltimore, Strongman gym, and Brian, the owner, was greeted us and like, "Hey, welcome. The class starts in 10 minutes. Go do your like set your things." And years after, he was like, "When you came out through the door, I was like, how am I gonna train this guy?" Then I turn around and I see you doing pull-ups, and I was like, ah, he's gonna be fine. Uh, and it's the same with every gym. I try to make it easy to the gym owners or the coaches to um, for them to like
Just wear your
keep,
games t-shirt.
huh?
Just wear your games t-shirt every time you go in. Just wear your games
Uh,
t-shirt. Gets rid
Yeah,
of any
who's
doubt.
who's that? No, it's me. Like, you're kidding. No, it's
Yeah.
actually me.
Or get a picture of yourself printed
Yeah.
on a t-shirt just to save questions. Um, okay, and you use so you and Casey, and I've seen a few others as well, have like kind of a, it's kind of like a strap. Like they all seem kind of different. Do you like, is that, are you allowed, like, do you just kind of make your own that works for you and use that, or is there like a standard or official like one that you use?
No, we make our own,
Okay.
because also when we do snatches, the strap may be a little shorter to the strap we use to do gymnastics or clean and jerks. So we kind of do our own.
And is there a similar rule, like say in regular open CrossFit, where you can't have like hooks, or you can't have, like that kind of stuff?
There is, and that's what where I'm more affected, because again, for
Oh yeah,
my fingers, any dumbbell work, I need to strap myself. So I need to go to Kevin Ogar. I think now because he's gonna be the guy,
yeah.
and tell him, hey, can I use this for this workout? And
So you have to strap both limbs essentially.
yes, on
Okay.
some, not at the games because they won't ask us to do anything with our left limb, but
Okay.
usually yes, to do muscle ups or when I'm working out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting that it annoys you that they won't force you to, like you say, there are some people who are like, it's so much easier just doing this one. But like, I love the fact that you're like, no, fuck that. I want to do it the hard way. I want to go over the mountain, not around it, kind of.
Yes, and because when a little kid watches the CrossFit Games and watches the adaptive division and sees a girl like her missing an arm doing burpees with one hand or dumbbell snatches, like that's everyone can do that.
Yeah.
But if she watches a girl with one arm do bar muscle ups, do handstand walks, do squat snatches, then that girl is going to be like, wow.
Yeah.
So I think that we owe it to the sport to be doing all these things because we work hard all year to be able to do muscle ups. Like if it was for CrossFit, I wouldn't be doing ring muscle ups now because why? They're never gonna ask. They're never gonna ask
Yeah.
about muscle ups or snatches. I don't train for the games. I train just to be a better person and a better athlete myself because the games are not asking us that and we're not pushing the sport forward because we are just doing what we're supposed to do. Oh, they have legs, let them squat. Oh, they don't have legs, they let them ski. And man, we're capable of so much more.
Is that fear, do you think? Are they afraid? Like, are they afraid to? I know you probably don't want to speak for them, but like, have you gotten the impression that it's fear of pushback from maybe even not the adaptive athletes, but you know, the way people like to get pissed off for other people? So, like that, if they programmed handstand walks, that people would be like, oh, you shouldn't make them do handstand walks. That's ridiculous. Is that what you think the problem is?
Well, the first year that we went to the games, I'm pretty sure Dave Cash was like, "Who let these guys in here?" Uh, but it's been it's the third year now, and they follow us. They know who we are. They know what we're
Yeah.
capable of. So the fear factor, it's not valid for me to me anymore.
Yeah.
I understand the first year, yes, okay, but it's been 3 years. We talked to the head of the adaptive division, and I talked to him personally. I was like, hey, I understand that the open has to be for everyone, so yeah, go ahead, put down those snatches or pistols or whatever. But when we go to a semifinal stage, you are trying to find the five fittest athletes in the world. Uh,
He got fired since, didn't he?
yes, yes.
What was your What was your internal response when that news came to you? Were you like, oh, that's a shame? Or were you like, oh, thank fuck?
uh, I thought that you was I don't like people being fired or something negative happening to
Yeah.
them, but I thought that it was a decision that would move our sport forward.
Okay.
Will it? I don't know. Let's see it at the games. But I really
You
hope,
were happy. You were happy he was gone, but not happy that someone had to be fired for it to happen. Basically.
yeah, for it to happen. It could easily happen if he listened to the athletes.
Yeah. Is that why you think he was fired? Because he wasn't listening?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it was because of that. Because again, I don't think that people are paying that much attention
Yeah. Okay.
to the adaptive categories. Anyways,
Yeah. I think Hiller made plenty of noise. I think that probably
yes,
sped things up a bit.
and I'm that's the reason that I'm so thankful to you guys is because Healer or you interviewing me, it's giving showing the world that well we're just not got some handicapped people who give them a dumbbell and let them work out a little bit
Mm.
to kind of wash the image of CrossFit. It's like, hey, CrossFit is for everyone. It's like I don't want to be that guy. If I don't want to be easy advertisement for you, uh, because if I consider myself an elite athlete, I don't want other people to come to the sport because we are giving them the easy way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the in a lot of sports, the Paralympics. Why it's easier to get there, but not everything. It's okay. Like you need to demand from us because we are elite athletes in our sport.
Mm. It's interesting because Hiller actually put a thing up. Was it yesterday or today? Where CrossFit Kate had tweeted that sharing extremes of the sport like scares people off, and he was like arguing. He was kind of half arguing against it, half arguing with like, well, you're saying you shouldn't do that, but then you do that. So like, it's interesting the parallel, and it's the same, I guess, in the adaptive vision you're saying where that little boy or little girl who's watching it at home, or even a 16-year-old like you were watching it at home, thinking like, oh, this is it's actually a bit shit. Like they're just doing like sit-ups. Sure, I can do sit-ups now. Like, what's the point in trying? Versus like, oh fuck, that guy's doing ring muscle ups. I could learn how to do that.
I remember watching the decision that I took to compete in CrossFit. I was watching the Fittest on Earth documentaries. And it's like,
Yeah.
I have to compete. I have to do that. It motivated me, and I don't think that everyone should compete because any professional sport is not healthy.
Yeah.
But I think that by me doing what I'm doing, a lot of people are taking that attitude, and they don't have to be professional athletes, like I said, or professional at anything. But I want to show them that they, it doesn't matter where they come from, that they can be good at something,
Hmm.
and that is not excuse. I have a lot of people that come through the gym and it's like, it's CrossFit for me, or like I'm scared because it looks like too much. It's like, hey, it doesn't. It's not too much. It's, you just have to do your own thing, and the only thing that I want from you is that you leave these doors better than how that you came from, like
Hmm.
that how you came. And the goal is not to do. You don't have to be doing bar muscle ups or doing handstand walks, but you are scared of putting yourself upside down. Okay, let's get that first. Let's figure out how you can put yourself upside down. Like, let's put your legs on the box, and let's like, and then, oh, there you go. You can do that. So you can take that mindset outside of here, to
Hmm.
work, to school, to your relationships. That's why I love CrossFit. It's, to me, it's not about lifting stuff or lifting more weights. It's just what it shows you, the mentality that it gives you.
Hmm. That's cool. Um, what about coaching then? Do you coach in the gym that you own? Yeah, in the affiliate that you own.
I do.
And is it so? Is your coaching style, is a lot of it verbal? Then is it verbal cues? Because like obviously um, like modeling what to do for me,
Mm.
like is you doing it is going to look different than me doing it. So do you like do you rely on your words more? Is that how you get over that kind of barrier?
No, I show a lot the movement, and it's funny because sometimes I need to get a strap or something, and then like everyone, the whole class comes behind me to get a stuff. Like, no, 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 this is for me. Uh, it's just for me. But again, it's it's easier than, to me. It's easy to adapt now because the only
Yeah,
thing I
yeah.
need to do is compensate what's missing of my hand, my arm.
You're
So
largely you're largely preaching to the converted as well, I guess. Like those people, the members are like long time members. So in any given class, there might be like one person who's like new, going like, "How is he going to do this?" Whereas everyone else is like, "Oh yeah, it's Xabi, it's fine."
yeah, people already, like, they see me and they probably don't look at me. They don't even notice that I'm missing an arm.
Yeah, yeah. That's
But for the one person, it's I have funny moments like, hey, you have to use both hands when I take a kettlebell, for example. Uh, but I love it. I just, that's the reason that I wanted to start an affiliate. It just to show people what this sport gave me.
that's cool.
Uh, it gave me life. I started living thanks to this.
Um, what was the biggest change then? Like, was it just like consistent progression over time, or have you changed something that has gotten you to the level that you're at? So like you were training, you were learning new movements, you were finding ways around doing things. And then like once the adaptive division came up, you were like, like first in Europe or fifth in Europe or first in Europe or fifth at the games and fifth at the games. Like did you add in things? Did you change things? Were you like more consistent? Were you more rigid? Did you take a step back from coaching to give yourself more time? Or was it just a case of like, you were still on your upward like trajectory with adapting to the sport?
Uh, so the good thing about us is that this sport is really new, so we are building the sport.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to compete, so I took those hours off my of coaching, um, because what I saw is that by me doing what I'm doing, people can learn, and and people can find ways to. I I want to go through the troubles of adapting, so you don't have to. So when you come to sport, it's just, hey Xavi, how do you make your monorail? Or hey, how did you? So I wanted to, more than competing, I just wanted to show, make this sport grow as much as we can, so the future generation can come tomorrow and look at us and like laugh at the weights we're lifting. It's like, you guys only, Casey, you only did 130 kilo clean and jerks. I can, and that's the progression was just me figuring out and believing that I can, because I doubted myself for a lot of years, and I owe myself uh, to believe that, believe in myself. So when the first challenge was uh, going up a rope, we spent a lot of time on this. We went up a rope. Okay, we saw that we could. Let's go to the next one. And when you start achieving those, then if I could do that, why am I not going to be able to do the next thing? And
Yeah.
it's kind of where we are now.
And are there things though that like aren't overcomable? Like if you went to the games and said, okay, you asked for it, do some legless rope climbs, would you be like, oh come on? I mean, that's probably a bit too far.
I would love for us to have a legless row climbs and just be trying till the
just
time.
figure it out basically.
Yes. I can, like, I laugh because sometimes my coach goes and puts legless row climbs like this guy. This guy doesn't know that I'm missing one arm, but uh, I I do handstand walking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do the ramp. I do bar muscle ups. Bar muscle ups. I do ring muscle ups. So those were impossibles before. Like, people would look at me and it's okay. Bar muscle ups are too much. Or
I mean,
bench.
it would definitely lean into the unknown and unknowable. If you guys turned up and they said, okay, we want you to do X, Y, or Z, like
Mm,
a regular movement that the elite field do,
mm.
and just like with no instructions on what you could or couldn't do. But like, say, like that example, legless rope climb, it's like once you don't use your legs, we don't care. Like, use your teeth if you have to. We don't care how you get up, just get up.
Yes, and I'm sure one of us would at least go up a few inches.
Yeah, yeah.
And it all starts from there. It all starts from there. And
The
the
crowd would
next
fucking
one,
love it as well. The crowd would go crazy if someone if someone started moving. Like there'd be a lot of confusion, but it would quickly turn into like, oh shit, like he's off the ground.
exactly. And
Yeah,
that's where the crowd see that the value of the adaptive division. It's not just poor handicapped people
hmm.
doing uh, being allowed to work out. No, no, no. These guys are trying to figure things out, and also switching from that disability or disabled. I don't have anything against the word, but I don't consider myself disabled, because if I can do a rope climb and someone with two hands and two arms cannot, am I disabled?
Yeah,
So I think we are handicapped. But everyone has their handicap, right?
hmm.
And I don't think my problems are bigger than yours or someone else's. It's just, the matter is that we are trying to figure out life, uh, and I wish and I hope this year in Madison we get legless road climbs and spend just minutes trying to figure that out, because I
Yeah,
know when we go back home the next month, one of us, at least one of us, will get it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Even if they said like, okay, it's 1 p.m., you guys are doing a workout at 2 p.m. and there's two legless rope climbs at the start, and
Hmm.
then just gave you an hour to just go back and figure it out and try and you know that'd be cool. Um, Okay, and then so other aspects then have you always taken like say your recovery seriously, your food seriously, your sleep seriously? Have you always taken that seriously or have you kind of turned the dial up on that recently too?
I turned on dialogue a little later, because when I started, I was working with my dad at the restaurant, not in the kitchen. Uh, I was opening my gym. I was trying to work out 2 sessions a day, so recovery wasn't the best.
Yeah.
And food intake until I get my on with a nutritionist. My I came from the bodybuilding scene, so
Chicken and
and
broccoli.
yeah, chicken and broccoli. And when I go to a nutritionist, he's like, "Dude, if you want to do something CrossFit, you have to eat rice." Uh, and I started eating a lot of rice. I gained like 10 kilos.
Fucking
Um,
hell.
yes, it took 5 years, but yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Then my dad
Um,
retired, which it was a great excuse to rest a little more.
oh yeah.
But it was just I started my business and I needed the money from my from the restaurant, so I couldn't stop there. That so
Who else? There's someone else. Oh, Roderick Lopez. You know me, meme for time.
yes,
He washed dishes and like saved, and that's how he opened his gym. So very
I
similar.
was actually a waiter,
Yeah.
so didn't throw like break a lot of
I'm
plates.
thinking, yeah, if I walked into a restaurant, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but if I walked into a restaurant and a guy with one arm came out with a tray, I'd be like, fuck, I'm never getting this food. I was like, this is not gonna, I was like, that's the same as like a waiter coming out in roller skates. I'm just like, this isn't happening. Like, it's
This
not making it this
what
far.
kind of yeah. I get a lot of stories of people like, yeah, I remember you from the restaurant, and when I saw you, it's like, how is
Yeah.
this guy carrying 2 plates?
I feel like
Uh,
you walking past, people will constantly just be like, ready
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
ready to catch.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got this. I got this.
Yeah, doubting. That's just doubting. Okay. What else was it? Oh yeah, I spoke to Tebow. So Tebow owns GoWad, and GoWad are sponsoring this series. Um so it's we're calling it the final stretch, which I thought was very clever.
Nice.
And it's like the lead up to Madison. And we wanted to kind of have a broad spectrum of people on, and I was keen to have an adaptive athlete on. So, that's why you're here. But I asked you earlier on, do you use GoWad? And you said you do. And I was talking to Tebow, so he's going to give you a membership to GoWad to help
Wow,
you prepare for Madison and whatever else, Miami or whatever else you're doing later on. So yeah, if you send me your email that you use to log in,
for sure. Yeah,
I'll pass that on to him, and then he'll get you set up
awesome.
with a membership.
I
Um,
actually I actually met him. Was it
yeah,
last?
he said he met you a couple of times. Yeah,
Yeah. Going back from Chicago, he's a great guy. So thank you
yeah,
so much. I have
um,
to adapt some of the things in, but
yeah. I'd say,
go what
especially when it says like other side, and you're like,
yeah, it's 12-minute stretch, but you have to roll both forearms.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's like switch
usually
sides. I'll just do this one
exercise.
again. Or you just like stand there and just like do nothing for
Yeah.
60 seconds. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I think one of the things that he and Goat are keen on is like they won't, I don't know, say like some random athlete who was doing well came to them and said, "Oh, I want it." Like their first question they always ask is, "Well, have you used GoWatt? How long have you used it for? Do you use it every day? And do you like it?" They're their openers. They don't just say like, "Oh shit, you're famous. Okay, here's some, here's a membership. Here's like." They're always like, "Okay, you use it already. Brilliant. Okay, you can have it for free now." I think yeah, that's
And
shows how much they value the product.
it's also a great tool for class. A
Yeah.
lot of times I use it for class. It's just it's great for that as well.
Yeah,
So
and they do affiliate offers and stuff. They do free for
mm,
affiliates and stuff, which is
mm,
cool. Okay, well listen, it's been great getting to talk to you. Actually, one thing I want to ask,
mm.
do you ever get, say, when you meet people for the first time, do you ever, because like sometimes when I meet people for the first time and I have like two hands, I don't know what to do with my hands, where I'm like, are they going to go for a hug or a fist bump or a handshake or a high five or nothing? Are we going to stand? Are we going to nod at each other, or what are we going to do? Have you like, is that a common thing that you're used to now, where people like put out a hand and take it back, or like don't know what to do?
I I do have my doubts a lot of times. Every like when I meet someone new, when I give them my hand because it doesn't look normal
Yeah,
either. So how they're gonna react.
Yeah, will they go like,
Uh,
or like pull
yeah,
back, or
yeah,
will they lean in?
yeah. I never
Yeah,
had that yet. But yeah, it's just I just trying to make this
yeah.
normal. So
Make a joke out of it. Yeah, I think that's it's
yeah,
important. You've got a great
and
attitude. Like you've a
and
great attitude, as in your, like, oh, I'll overcome it and I'll adapt,
just,
and I'll find a way is great. But I think, like, as well as that, encouraging curiosity and not being like annoyed when people ask questions or not. Like, I knew within 15 seconds of talking to you, I knew, like, I can ask this guy anything about it and he's not going to
yeah.
get like snippy or upset or anything.
A lot of times I have to be careful on the jokes I make because
Yeah,
sometimes people are like, "Did he just said that?" We can
yeah,
be the biggest jerks. I remember in Miami with the two other guys, we're just laughing at each other and throwing all kinds of jokes
yeah.
to each other all the time. So uh,
It's
it's
I think it's pretty common in the adaptive vision, especially because I suppose that thing, like, if you don't laugh, like, I mean, fucking hell, like, life is shit enough anyway. Like, you might as well laugh at what you can. Like, Jedediah Snelson is in the
yes,
lower
we're
extremity, yeah, and he's always taking the piss out of himself, like saying that it's like it's a tough leg day, and like, all, like, yeah, he's great. I love that though, because, like, I kind of think with jokes, like, there's just nothing is off the table. Like, anything can be, like cancer, anything. I don't care. Like, just make a joke about it because it just lightens it a bit. Gives a
it's
bit of levity.
exactly it's just giving light to the topic, and so it's not something negative
Yeah,
uh, to people. It's just these guys joke about these guys are joking.
yeah.
So yeah,
I like it. Well, listen, best of luck with the rest, with the final stretch to Madison. Best of luck with all getting ready and everything. It's great. I'm really excited for it. And yeah, when we're passing Bilbao, when I get off the ferry, I'll know. I'll know pretty quickly when we
hey,
get off the ferry if there's
if it's not to
literally
work out,
any
if it's not,
possibility or zero possibility.
if it's not to work out, you have to stop to eat.
Okay.
This the Basque region. It's the best place in Spain, and I'm gonna go and say Europe to eat.
Wow.
It's the food here. It's the most Michelin star chefs are in here. It's great. So
That's cool.
I can serve you a coffee, and
I'll gratefully accept that.
so
And I 100% will not take um your one-armedness into consideration when I judge your latte art either. I'll be harsh.
and also when I give you the hand,
Oh,
please don't.
I'll pull back. I'll scream in my highest pitch voice and pull
I'll just
back.
go hug you and make it more awkward.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Well, listen, thanks. It's been great getting to talk to you, and best of luck with all the prep for